Your microphones must remain muted until you are called upon to speak. Please don't unmute them once I mute them.
Are you folks able to see the meeting?
Nope.
I don't see it either, but it shows that there's 57 people on.
The council has not logged in yet from chambers. They had to move the equipment due to the number of people who are currently in chambers. So if you just be patient for a few minutes, they will be figuring that out. But in the meantime, I do have to ask everyone to keep their microphone off because otherwise there's feedback on the recording.
Sure thing. Thanks. I just thought something might not be right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, what's the furthest we can move it over that way? Hi, Alyssa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Failed negotiations. It was worthwhile in terms of the process moving forward. Part of For those of you who have just joined the meeting, you're not hearing anything yet because there are some technical issues on the side of the chambers. So they're working on that right now. You will hear them join the meeting any minute, and we ask that you just remain muted until you are called on to speak. Thank you.
screen. So he's going to send somebody over and try to set up the other one so that it can face out to the audience. All right. Okay. Get started in just a second.
Okay, so I hope everyone was able to hear that. They're working on moving the electronic system in chambers to accommodate the large amount of people who are there and allow the aldermen to be the speakers at the same time. So I ask that everyone just please be patient a few more minutes. Our director of the IT department is on his way.
Good evening. Those of you who are expecting to see Andrea Shaw, I'm sorry to disappoint you. She's at work, so you're stuck with me. Tonight's meeting is a public hearing that has been called by the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, in regard to the abandonment of Fair Street extension. Please bear with us. We're trying to figure out this new technology. We're trying to get a tech over here so that we can set up the other screen so that you all can see who's speaking. We need to be able to see who's speaking because we're going to try to go back and forth between a live speaker and screen, somebody online, okay? So we apologize for the delay. We're all still trying to learn this stuff here. So what we'll do in a minute is we'll start, we'll use the list here, and then we'll go back and forth. The list attendee, the city clerk, is running the online portion here. And I want to make it clear, we got a lot of people who want to speak, and so the clerk will announce each speaker. When it is your turn, please state your name and address for our records. We will alternate between in-person and virtual speakers. If you have not signed up to speak, please do so at our podium, or let me know afterwards. If you want to speak and you didn't sign up, we'll allow people to speak. Just let us know after everyone who signed up is gone. All speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. We will have one timer virtually and one in person with a 30-second warning, as well as the 3-minute ending. Thank you in advance for adhering to the time limit so we can hear from everybody here. Also, if you hear somebody saying what you were going to say in advance, it's fine that you don't have to speak, your choice, all right? So like I said, we're waiting on a tech to come and set up the other screen, but I think we'll go ahead and get started and see if we can make this work. We appreciate your patience, we appreciate your being here, we appreciate your excitement about the politics of Kingston. So tonight, we've got Barbara Grace-Fuller. She's our new corporate counselor who's going to help us through the evening. We also got on hand Patrick O'Reilly, Alderman of Ward 7, and Michelle Hirsch, Alderwoman of Ward 9. So the meeting is being recorded also, so if you know anybody who wants to look at it later, they can find it on our city website tomorrow or soon thereafter. I think that's about everything we've got going. So I've got a timer. When you hear the bell go off, we'll let you know. And just a second here. Good, someone will be here in about 15 minutes, but we'll go ahead and get started. Also, we appreciate if you let everyone speak without any interruption when they speak, so they have their full 3 minutes, okay? Do we have any questions before we get started? Yep.
Who's hosting this public hearing? Is it a committee or the whole county?
Oh, well, it's the common council. Yes, sir.
Are there other older men watching online?
I can't tell you.
Excuse me?
I can't, it doesn't say who's online here. All right, so the first person on our list here live is Joe Cherney. And actually, Abby, could you turn the podium? It should be facing this way. The podium should be facing this way. There you go, thank you. So if you would state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Joe Charney, 97 Hutton Street, Kingston, New York, lifetime resident. I'm just here for support and favor of Kingstonian. We need to upgrade Kingston, that's my point of view. We turned down too many projects for uptown. If you go to other cities, you're seeing all kinds of upgrades. We need this project for Kingston, New York. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Elizabeth, do we have somebody with you there? I'm also going to ask you if you wouldn't mind, hold your applause, because we'd like to give everybody a chance to speak tonight. Elizabeth?
Sarah Wang. Sarah Wang.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I always have plenty to say about the Kingstonian, but tonight I mostly have questions. The public has been asking for nearly a month about the process for the Fair Street extension that was initiated in November with no response. Today, mere hours before the start of this hearing, a statement from the mayor and a resolution were posted on the city's website where they are extremely difficult to find. This hardly gives the public time to learn and understand what is actually happening. A vital question that remains unanswered is, what process are you following? All of this information and more should have been released long before you scheduled a public hearing. Why was this hearing scheduled for December 9th and then abruptly moved to December 2nd? Holding it tonight conflicts with the HLPC meeting going on right now, where revised plans for the Kingstonian are being unveiled. What was so urgent that this hearing had to happen at the same time? Was there pressure on the council to move the date so the final vote would take place at your December meeting and not in January? If not, why the urgency? Why haven't we been able to get our questions answered? Corporation Counsel told me it's not her job to explain things to the public. My emails to council members have gone unanswered and unacknowledged. Why? Meanwhile, the developers have been hard at work drumming up support. Virtually all the written comments posted use the same language, regurgitated from their posted talking points. Among their claims, they tout enhanced walkability with the pedestrian bridge, but do not address that it will be a road to nowhere, ending in a strip mall parking lot with no sidewalks. And they tout their park, which by their own admission is actually a retail plaza, not a true public amenity and certainly not a green space. They ask in shock why the issue of Fair Street is being brought up now after so much time. Well, some of us have been raising questions about this for years. I brought pictures of backed up traffic on North Front Street to more than one hearing. The traffic implications of this closure are enormous, and the traffic study was laughable and is quite roundly rebuked by the new study submitted by Victoria Polidoro. Another question that remains unclear is whether what the mayor refers to as, quote, access to the public parking garage, unquote, from Schwenk Drive is going to be accessible to the public or only to building residents. The latest plans leave this very unclear. If this entrance is only for building residents, I don't see how that portion of the street can still be considered public. I hope the council will keep the comment period for this hearing open for as long as possible. Releasing so much significant information hours before the start of the hearing puts the public at a deep disadvantage. And I hope that you will all think long and hard about the repercussions of the decisions you're making on this project. History shows that these endeavors rarely work to the public good. When rich men show up making promises, healthy skepticism is, I believe, the best approach. The citizens of Kingston are watching, and we will remember. Thank you.
Yes, please, if you would, state your name.
Yes, thank you. My name is Dean Tambori. I live in the town of Newburgh, 87 Coleman Road. I know you're probably thinking, I live in the town of Newburgh. What am I doing? What am I doing here tonight? Well, I can tell you that I'm a field representative from neighborhood Local 17 in Newburgh, New York. I represent the members of Ulster County. I lived in Ulster County my whole life in the town of Marlborough with my two boys. We've played ball up here at the Jordan family. Study. My son was on the Kingston Moose League. They're a great family. They could have sold that or invested in this area. They continue to invest. We come up as much as possible. I believe spending money here in the city where we have workers. I come up with my wife, and what do you know? We shop around and there's no parking. So I think this is a great project. As of right now, the Jordan family, we're currently working union, doing work for him now privately, which sometimes we have difficulty even on municipal projects. We do paving, we do some renovations, etc. They're a great family, and they deserve to have this taken care of. And as we're looking through this, and we follow construction projects for our people, so I will look through all my information. I found that one of the first articles that I had was in 2018. There was a chamber practice meeting up in Wilwick, and it was snowing that day, I remember, and we went up with Todd Ward, and we heard all about this project. I thought it was fantastic at the time, and needed to get it done. As we continue to pull up our information, I had a article, it's in September of 2019 in the Kingston Freeman, which I can tell you specifically says that the portion of the open air, I'm going to read out of the paper, an open air pedestrian plaza will be built with a portion of the Fair Street extension. That portion of the road between the Sean Drive and North Front Street will be closed to through traffic. This is not urgent. This has been going on. We've known about this. I hope you guys approve this project. I would commend the council for you guys working with other agencies throughout Ulster County to get this project through. I think you should be commended. I appreciate all the work that you've given our members, and hopefully we can continue to work in the future. And thank you for the project. I urge you to pass this and move forward. Thank you.
All right, online, Alyssa?
Clark Richters.
Clark, before you go, I just want to know if somebody asked other older people, and online, we've got Rita Worthington, Jessica Morrell, and Steve Schaff. All right, Clark.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to stay home and do this virtually, and have it open to the general public. Hopefully in the future, you can incorporate the public access cable TV into that loop, so everybody can have that opportunity to stay involved with city government. I, for myself, lived in Kingston for a very long time. I drive in Kingston, so I'm very familiar with traffic. Just my opinion, a resident brought up and just suggested that maybe at the, for several months, they should have blocked off the street and made like a practice thing about having Fair Street Extension closed and see if it was going to work out or not work out. Now, even though I don't support, because it is a public street and it's supposed to be, our public right. And I don't believe the council has the right to give away, even if it's, I would say, if they're looking to develop, they should put this on, a vote to the public, whatever you want to call that. Just put it out there to the public so the public can vote on it instead of the council voting on it. And because I believe in my years of experience driving uptown it's going to cause traffic problems. It's going to be more traffic heading towards Clinton. I'm sure you're familiar with the Clinton Westbrook Lane intersection, which is probably one of the most busiest intersections in Kingston. It's going to cause more traffic to go up there. And I believe with the pandemic, as it's been about 2 years, unless it's just me, but there's a lot more people out there driving, and just in general speaking. So I think I just wanted to let the council know they really should come up with some kind of solution with, having more of a pedestrian safety aspect of it, and getting people to park the cars and probably jump on the bus. And another thing is, like, if I don't really think that the $25 million tax incentive is going to benefit me as a resident. It's only going to benefit the big developers for 25 years.
Clark, that's 3 minutes.
Okay. And that's just it. I just, and in that respect, I'm hoping that you could take and put this out to the public to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark. Brian Ham?
Good evening. Ryan Ham, 220 East Chestnut Street, Kingston, New York. Lived here my entire life. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the Kingstonian project and partial abandonment of Fair Street Extension and 2 easements. A resolution that was unanimously endorsed by the Common Council Finance and Audit Committee in October. This project will be the largest private development to this community since the construction of the Kingston Plaza more than 50 years ago. I urge you not to let this opportunity escape, as so many other projects proposed in the past. In this room, there should be no enemies, but unemployment, a stagnant economy, and the thought of not building towards Kingston's future. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
All right, hold on.
Or Todd.
Oh, Ward Todd, you're here? Was that Ward Todd, Alyssa?
Yes.
Oh, he's here in person.
Okay, he signed up, so he should go.
Okay, go ahead, Ward. Come on up. Yeah, just, I hope you don't echo.
Sorry, thanks very much, Bernie, Matt, Michelle, thanks for being here, thanks for your service, obviously. My name is Ward Todd, I'm with the Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for having this public hearing tonight. I have written comments that I'd like to leave with you for the file. I've also got a letter from one of our members, Eric Dicing from Dicing's Bakery, that he'd like to submit to the record. And just a couple of brief comments in addition to what I've written. I believe you're aware that developers are providing enormous benefits in return for what we think is the necessary partial closure, including nearly 300 public parking spaces, critical housing, public gathering space, jobs, sales tax, ADA compliant, pedestrian access, tourism, hotel rooms, and much, much more. As I mentioned, that there are some written comments detailing the reasons why it's necessary to close a portion of the road, as well as the advantages of closing it. But I'd also like to bring to your attention that without question, the highest and best use of that roadway is as a signature portion of the Kingstonian project. That's made even more clear to me when I see how Kingston, uptown Kingston in particular, has become a pedestrian-friendly city. Walking is healthier and, of course, better for the environment. Sectioning off a portion of the Fair Street extension will make walking to and from uptown Kingston much easier and much safer. I personally shudder every time I see someone trying to cross 4 lanes of Swank Drive leading to Mac Fitness or another one of the stores in the Kingston Plaza, or to walk to uptown to one of the many great stores and restaurants from the plaza. The Kingstonian will provide an overhead walkway eliminating that intersection for pedestrians and will also provide a beautiful resident park setting in the middle of the hustle of uptown Kingston. I have no doubt that the highest and best use of the Fair Street extension and the uncovered and small city parking lot is in fact the Kingstonian. The Ulster County Regional Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors enthusiastically endorses this project and encourages the members of the council to approve the partial closure of the Fair Street extension. We are sharpening our scissors right now and not waiting for the ribbon cutting on opening day. It's time. Thank you.
The letter, okay, there's a little thing here, the folks online can't hear the speakers. Fortunately, we've got our tech coming here very soon, so we'll be able to take care of that. Bear with us online. So, El Khan Fioria.
My name is Todd DiOrio. I'm an Ulster County resident of Marlboro, New York. I am the representative of the Hudson Valley Building Construction Trades Council, which represents 29 trade locals and about 8,000 members in 4 counties, many of them from Ulster County and many of them from the city of Kingston. The need to abandon the road is not a new concept, as you heard a couple of people make comments on. Looking back, it's been, well, I know it's been over 3 years, so this is not a new item here. It's been discussed publicly in the press for over 3 years. It's been at several meetings. It's been in different IDA meetings. So this is not a new development here. Developers addressed the 2 traffic studies, both the developer and the city of Kingston addressed this abandonment of the road, and there was no negative effects, or maybe there's a minimal effects or no impacts on the road closure. The benefits include public parking, which is currently an issue. I'm up here quite a bit. I come up here a lot on weekends and during the week. I enjoy the city of Kingston, the restaurants, and the other things that are up here. So the benefits of public parking, they're going to create housing, jobs, which is important to me, tax base, hotel rooms. This will be a true destination once it's complete. And most importantly, it links the 2 districts, which I believe reading it is very important. The other thing I want to report on is, I know this is about the road abandonment, but I've met with the developer on several occasions to ensure that local trades, local workers will be used on this project. Unlike many projects that come into the area, we're always concerned about local labor. There's a commitment here to local labor. There's a preference to local union contractors, local contractors, and local workers. So this is just, I believe it's a great project. And projects of this magnitude don't come too often to this area. And typically, this is one of the few projects that we've actually come out and supported without a formal written agreement that the project is going to be done union. We believe this project is not just a good project because there's a commitment to local labor. This is a good project for the city of Kingston. I think we're going to miss an opportunity if the council holds up this road abandonment. Thank you.
Alyssa, next online.
Joseph Deegan.
Oh, another one. There's two places.
Can I tell you?
Joe is here, Alyssa.
Yes, there are a few people who signed up in advance but are present, so whenever their name is called.
Okay,
Does that mean I'm up?
you're up.
I'm up. Good evening, and thank you for having me and this entire group here this evening to address the issue before the council this evening. I'm going to be, the issue of abandoning the street is yet another cog in the wheel. I'm speaking, as other speakers have, to the greater good of this project. This street should be abandoned, and this project should go forward. This has been frankly enough already. This has been forever. I do not understand, nor will I ever understand, all of the controversy surrounding it. We need to move forward. The last $50 million project done in Ulster County, I have news for you, was a thing called the Ulster County Jail. Taxpayer funded. This is a $50 million project with, yes, some public money, but largely private funded. This is the first time a $50 million largely private funded project has ever taken place in Ulster County. It will create parking, housing, hospitality. I know you won't really be shocked to know that I'm a supply side economist. Increase supply, prices drop. It's very simple. I'm a commercial real estate broker, and in my practice of 33 years, I have finally seen Kingston start to get a grip and move ahead in a meaningful way. This project will be yet another shot in the arm to ensure that Kingston moves forward. I also happen to be a budding property owner. And if you think I'm looking forward to the construction, noise, and debris from the project, I'm not. It's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience for me, but I could care less. It's called short-term pain for long-term gain. I urge your support. Thank you very much for having us here.
James McGowan.
My name is Jim McGowan, 70 Dunham Avenue. Born and raised in Kingston, third generation. Have a business in Kingston for 20 plus years. A lot of people have spoke already mentioned about the road, and why it took so long, so I'm not going to touch on that. I want to touch on the developer a little bit. They're vested here, they've been vested here for many, many years, and many years to come. And I just think that we've put these people through the last 5 years. It's amazing for what they do for this community. They've been doing it for forever. And again, there's a lot of things I wanted to say about the road and about the development. The project is, to me, a no-brainer. There's nowhere to park uptown. You just keep driving around in circles and circles and you leave. And then those 5 stores and the restaurants you're going to go in, come get the business. I want to thank the mayor, common council for their support up to now. And hopefully that we can put an end to this. And we have to be real careful with these whales that are coming into our community that aren't vested, but they have unlimited funds to push us around and do what they want. And I believe that's why we're here tonight. Because they already mentioned that it was a pass and then we come to another roadblock. It's 5 years. And this thing about the road was brought up 5 years ago. So again, I want to thank the council and the mayor for their support and their time. Thank you.
Alyssa, are masks required in City Hall right now?
I'm sorry, what, Rennie?
Masks are required in City Hall, yes?
Yes, they are.
Even when people are speaking?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So, folks who are at the mic, if you would please continue to wear your mask even if you speak. So listen to the next person online, please.
Okay, I do have a statement that I'm gonna make first because of behavior in the chat. Meetings of the Common Council, including remote participation, shall be conducted in an orderly manner to ensure that the public has the full opportunity to be heard and that the deliberative process of the council is retained at all times. Speaker interruption, foul language, and personal attacks will not be tolerated. If there are more personal attacks on the chat, I am going to have to turn off the chat. Our next speaker is Dan Ahouse.
Thank you, and good evening. Dan Ahouse. I live at 24 Heritage Court in Kingston. I'd like to thank the council for your continued work on reviewing this complex and critically important project, one that will provide substantial public benefit to the Kingston and broader Ulster County communities. The extent of those benefits have been reviewed and re-reviewed throughout an exhaustive public process and determined time and time again to be valid and legitimate. As a result, this project has been consistently supported by the general public and their elected officials, including unanimous support from this body, the Common Council, and supermajority support from the Ulster County Legislature and the Ulster County IDA. The mayor of the city of Kingston, Ulster County's county executive have also been vocal in their support for this project. And the public has expressed their support for the project through hundreds of letters and emails to you and to your colleagues in other government entities, as well as through their participation in forums like this. What is before you now is a procedural matter that we all knew needed to be addressed. It's necessary in order to realize public benefits of the project, including a public park, which, by the way, is called for in the city's heritage area plan for the Uptown District, as well as several other amenities which have been determined to provide a significant benefit to the public. I commend the council and all of you for your deliberate approach to reviewing this project. And I note that despite what opponents' lawyers have claimed about the process, the courts have time and time again reinforced your positions. Please continue to support this important project and approve the partial closure of the Fair Street extension. Thank you.
Joe Davis. Is Joe Davis? Oh, sorry.
Joe Davis, Abandonment Street, Kingston, New York. I am a lifelong Kingston resident, born and raised here. Own a business, a few blocks right from where the Kingstonian is to be built. Just like Mr. Deegan, for a short period of time, I will feel some of that destruction pain that is more than worth it for, as Mr. Deegan said, the long-term gain. This is a project the city of Kingston has long been missing out. This has been 5 long years. The majority of the city of Kingston residents, specifically lifelong residents, not people that are coming in and just throwing their money to create chaos, approve and believe me. I appreciate what the council has done for several years to push this along, and I'm here in full support of the abandonment of Fair Street so that this project can move forward and finally get off the ground after 5+ years and give this city what it's long needed. Thank you.
Listen, next person online.
Bob Ryan.
Oh, I think Bob Ryan is here.
can't hear anything coming from conference room.
Cannot hear.
It appears that our IT department has arrived and they're trying to connect something to make it easier for everyone to hear. So if you can just be patient for 1 minute.
Can you ask them to pause the meeting until it's figured out?
It is paused.
Elissa?
Yes.
So we're gonna have to connect the two screens right now. So we're gonna lose transmission, but then we'll log back in here in just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
And some people online are complaining that they can't hear the speakers
So
here. See any way to?
Well, hopefully.
while they're doing that, I do want to just tell everyone who I see that has asked in the chat, Rose Quinn, I will add your name. I just checked my emails and I do not have an email from you, but you are now on the list. Scott Denny, you're on the list. Iona Ross, you're on the list. And I apologize, I never say your name right. That's all I see that has signed up in the chat. Cheryl Snyder, you are on the list. I'm sorry. I did see it earlier and I did put you on the list. I apologize for not responding to people directly in the chat. While the speakers are speaking, I am taking notes as well as keeping the time for their 3 minutes. I do not have time to respond to everybody. In response to Deborah Price asking that the camera be turned, that's what the IT department is there doing right now. And Justin, I will put you on the list. So while we have a minute, these are the people that I have who signed up in the chat to speak. Cheryl Snyder, Tom Polk, Scott Denny, Iona Ross, Rose Quinn, Justin Hoekstrom, and Jean Jacobs, who messaged me. I see Judith Bogus. I'm adding her right now. Jennifer Armstrong, I have you on the list. I thought I got an email from you. I'm adding Rebecca Rower. Adding Rashida Tyler. I see there's a question as to how long we will accept written comments. I believe at the end of the meeting tonight, Rennie Scott Childress will announce how long the public hearing will be open and how long you can send the written comments. You would send them to me at emtinty@kingston-ny.gov. And again, just so everyone knows, the holdup is the IT department has arrived at City Hall and they are trying to switch around some monitors so that everyone can see whomever is speaking. So hopefully it'll only just be another minute. I'm going to repeat my email. It's emtinty@kingston-ny.gov. Just so everyone knows, I did send a text message to Rennie asking him to announce that as soon as he gets the opportunity to log back in.
So can we go?
So you may have to mute one side if it shows. If you think there's like. It sounds like there is. TV too. So what? So.
All right, let's try it again. Sorry about that. All right, so I believe we had Joe Davis already spoke. Is Mike Dunn here? Hold on a second. Getting feedback.
My name is Michael Dunn. I live in Marlboro, in Ulster County. I am a business agent for 17. I'm speaking for the members that live here in Kingston and surrounding areas. And we are all in favor of this project. I'm going to skip most of the comments to the time constraints because most of my other agencies spoke about the benefits of this project. The last comment I want to say is if this project
That was no, that's
Literally never tested this.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
all right. So this is here, still getting feedback. So it's clear to me some things.
We ask that you just be patient for a few more minutes. The IT department is in City Hall trying to work out the technical issues. Okay, so it seems like what they're going to do is have everyone who is in chambers speak and then everyone who's in the chat speak. They think it could be the going back and forth with having both sets of the equipment on. So hopefully that will remedy the situation.
Okay, so Alyssa, can you hear us here?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We're just gonna go back to what we were doing before. So, sorry about that. So Wayne May, are you here? I apologize for the wait. So what we're going to try to do right now is we'll have everybody who's here speak first, and then we'll shift to all the people who are online so that we can have that set up and it won't be as confusing, I think. So with everybody's patience, that's what we'll do. So Wayne May, go ahead, please.
Good evening, I'm Wayne Maish, 83 Wilson Avenue, Kingston, New York. I'm here to voice my support for the Kingstonian project. I can echo the comments of my previous speakers here, Joe Deegan, Ryan Ham, Jimmy McGowan, Joe Davis, the list goes on. But the only thing I have a problem with is the phrasing, the phraseology that's being used with the abandonment. It's not being abandoned, it's being adopted by the developers. It's being reused, retooled, being put to provide us with a better use for that roadway. I've been here my entire life. I've never found Fair Street Extension to be that much of a yellow brick road where it took me to some great place. It's not, it's a short roadway that is it's an important cog in the wheel. This whole project started in 2016, 2017. This was not hidden somewhere. It wasn't like put in the back pages, hidden. It was a very important part of the entire project. This is an important aspect of the Kingstonian coming to fruition. We need to work as a city hand in hand with this developer. I was in City Hall probably 15 years ago when Teichler walked away from the project up there for this very same reasons. He was having to jump through hoops. He came in here, he finally said, I had enough, I'm going elsewhere. If you look at his developments, he's got developments in Massachusetts, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, not in Kingston. And the reason being is the obstacles that we put in front of the developers is absolutely ludicrous. They need to be open, they need to be welcomed by us. This is a family from Kingston. These developers aren't from Timbuktu, they aren't from elsewhere. They are committed to Kingston. They have a long history of doing the right thing by us as citizens of Kingston. So it's about time that we start showing them that we appreciate what they're doing. We need this development. The Uptown District needs the development. Downtown needs this development. Midtown needs it. We need it as a whole, as a city, as a county, and as a state. We need to be the template for future developers. This is certainly not the template. If this is the template, we're going to lose everybody. So please, in the future, rip up this template, establish a new, give these people the right to build, and let's get moving. Thank you.
So everybody knows, and it's been frustrating, we're going to leave the public hearing open until this coming Monday at 5 o'clock. So you can submit comments, written comments to the city clerk, either by dropping it off in the box out front here or emailing the comments to emtinti, E-M-T-I-N-T-I, at kingston-ny.gov. She's the city clerk, so if you didn't get the email address, you can find it on our website, the city website. The city clerk, Elissa Tinty, E-M-Tinty at kingston-ny.gov. Thank you again for your patience. Clarence Hayes.
Hello, my name is Clarence Hayes, 45 Catskill Avenue, Kingston, New York. I am a Union Local 17 laborer, and I've had the opportunity to work on ADA ramps in this city and many others. They're very important, not only for handicap access, but for pedestrian safety people walking strollers and everything else. Nice to have some work in Kingston, and let's keep going. Let's make Kingston a better place, keep union work, big developments here. You don't have to travel as much for work, and keep going. Thank you.
Con Beesmer, Coy Beesmer, sorry.
My name is Corey Beesmer. I live at 240 Stone Road in West Early, New York. I'm a laborer for Local 17 and work for a local union excavation contractor. I spend much time in uptown Kingston and the Plaza area. I believe this project could benefit many people in my line of work and others. It would be a great addition to the growing Kingston area. I have had the opportunity to work on many projects throughout the city, and this is another great addition for the uptown area. Thank you.
Andrew Lessig. You have to have a microphone.
My name is Andrew Lessig. I'm Associate Attorney with Lewis & Greer, Poughkeepsie, New York. We are of counsel for the William Gottlieb Real Estate Company, along with other property owners in the uptown Kingston area. We oppose the abandonment of Fair Street Extension. First of all, there's been no assessment done as to what the value is of that piece of property to the city of Kingston, as required by the City of Kingston Code. Frankly, the resolution that has been authored, that is proposed, and we expect to have voted on next week by the Common Council, it frankly gives a blank check to the mayor to convey an easement over the street to be abandoned without any compensation required. There's been an argument made that the compensation the city will get in return is additional public parking. The Kingstonian is being planned to be built upon what is already a parking lot. There will not be additional parking. Even the rose-based assessments from the developers rely on a single parking space being given per unit in what's going to be mostly apartments, up to 3 bedrooms. Most people who have 3-bedroom apartments probably are going to have more than one car. But even assuming that they're going to get the variance they need to have just one designated parking spot per residence, even up to 3 bedrooms, they'll essentially only be giving the city back approximately the same number of parking spaces the city plans to be losing. Second of all, there's been talk that the Fair Street Extension will become a public park. First of all, there is already a public park at the location of what will become the Kingstonian, right across the street from Bunn's. That is a public park. It is unconstitutional to get rid of that without an act of the legislature, which there has not been one as of yet. And further, the public area that will be open to the public on what is now Fair Street Extension is not going to be a public park. We are not substituting apples for apples here. It is going to be a publicly open space maintained and ran and owned by a private developer. You could say the same thing about a Starbucks. It's open to the public, but it's not a public park. And one more thing I'll note, since this was planned to be a 3-hour public hearing, we spent almost an hour and a half tonight on technical issues. I'd ask that this hearing be adjourned for another in-person evening. Thank you.
Robert Province.
Hello, my name is Robert Provence, 63 Green Street, homeowner. I also have a business on North Front Street, right by where this project is planned. I'm concerned that this will impact my future here. We can all agree that Kingston needs upgrades, but is this the correct type? We need industry, not luxury apartments. We need techs to be developed and things like Blueprint. We do not need to destroy our historic district with a specific project. When I opened my business, I did so on the premise that it was a historic district. Is that over now? Both my decision to own a house and a business here was based on the belief that historic aesthetics of the stockade would not be at the mercy of new public servants and their desire to allow new modern developments. What's the next thing? The Empire State Building? Is it Moonberger enough? How about good, thoughtful design that utilizes the space with intention?
I'm trying to find out what happened.
All right, Alyssa. Jennifer O'Donnell,
Now I can hear you.
can you hear? We should All right.
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
Great. Tanya Garment.
Hi, Tanya Garment, 102 Ward Street, Kingston. This development is going to get a pretty sweet deal. Free land, and not only in the parking lot, also able to park on a well-used, public used park where we have a Christmas tree each year, and a great place to sit and watch while people pass by, and open to all. And now, probably the street. They're going to be able to build on there, not only to try to replace the park that they're going to be building on, but also for a couple of levels of parking. They're going to be right under that park. They're going to be getting money to rebuild the warehouse that Fritz House changed from a building and made into a warehouse. They're going to get money to pay for the foundation of the structure above the free land. They're going to get money to build a bridge to funnel people into the Jordan Smother property. They're going to get excusals from offering the amount of parking that our code currently requires. They're going to get tax breaks to cover the parking that they are building. And then it's also an opportunity zone. So theoretically, this could be 100% covered. Very sweet deal. Newark Street, we are just talking about it now. This is the way that the city determined the process should go. We're talking about this now, towards the end. The process did take a long time. Part of that was the DRI process. And people did try to talk about the closing of the street at that time. But the elected officials that were questioned about it refused to discuss it. It's a troublesome thing that we're doing so much for a development that years ago we would have been begging for, but we're not begging for development these days. And what we really need to be doing is helping small development, because we're being overrun with huge development, with these sort of giants. And the Jordans have been here for a long time. They're partnering with some pretty big giants And,
30.
I'm not a fan of Kingston Plaza frankly either. So thanks very much.
Lee Kalish.
Hi, good evening. Thanks to the council for allowing us to speak tonight. I think there are lots of great things about this project, and I'm generally in favor of it. But I also want to offer some pragmatic thoughts. I don't know why the plaza would be moved, the pedestrian plaza would be moved to being on Fair Street. I think the natural center of Kingston is, and always has been, at the foot, or I guess at the top of the wall at North Front. And now what's going to happen is we're going to go back to a time with the parking garage entrance there. We're taking an intersection that already is pretty congested. You turn left, you turn right. You're now going to go straight across. You're going to have a sidewalk that's going to take people east from North Front to the pedestrian plaza over Fair. I don't understand why we're doing that. Why don't we leave the entrance to the parking garage right where it is, allow people to travel along North Front, make the left turn down Fair, go in underneath the building. It just seems so much safer to me. You have so many pedestrians at that intersection. It's probably, excuse me, the busiest intersection in Kingston for pedestrians, and we're not going to add a parking garage entrance. I also think from an architectural standpoint, if you put the plaza right next to the old uptown architecture, you separate the new construction from the old. It's a much more natural way to have these different types of architectural buildings without having them right next door to each other. And it's very stark. Here's old uptown, here's new. Put the plaza in the middle. We have a nice, beautiful place that allows our events and the public space at the top of Wall Street. And we simply move things a little bit further to the right. Sorry, I don't think moving the pedestrian plaza to Wall Street is a deal breaker for the developers, but I think it is for us as citizens in the community. I think we need to look and say, what is the design that we can live with that gives us the best access to the new development that's going on, retains the access to the old development, and keeps our center of town intact. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Next is John Federos. John Federos. Not here. Michael Bocasio.
Hello, my name is Michael Casio. I've been a business owner for 25 years at 327 Wall Street. I'm a resident on Wall Street at 329 Wall Street as well for 25 years. I'm very disheartened. You know, they talk about 5 years of the developer. It's a disgrace. I've been dealing with this, and a bunch of us uptown. I think the first proposal was 12 years ago. The city, unfortunately, has ran any type of progress off. They continue to do so. I just ran for alderman recently, and you know, there's so much change needed here. You know, and I don't. You know, very articulate. business owners and residents of town are in favor of this project. We seem to think from a traffic study that we did 12 years ago when I think one of the construction guys mentioned Tyfer came in with the first proposal. We did a traffic study of town during the Pike renovations, and to have the traffic flow come through and off Wall Street instead of going down Wall Street, that was proposed to you guys 10 plus years ago. It's genius. By the way, I still don't understand why it hasn't happened, and it would also save us during the construction of this. It would just help. It's actually the wisest thing that you guys could do for us uptown as residents and business owners, is to change the traffic flow. Studies have been done. We need signage. Might take a little while to do. It shouldn't take that long, guys. That's just the reality of it. I'm going to bring up something else. I have a neighbor of mine who's handicapped. He's a lawyer. He's been uptown for 40-something years. Okay? It took him 6 months to get a handicap sign put up. Okay? And stuff like that just drags. Everything drags. I'm not really sure why. And I say this without sarcasm. Hopefully it's not taken that way. The front of the city hall looks like it's doing a lot of work. That's all well and good when I pulled up. But our sewers don't work uptown. They haven't worked forever. We fixed the tops. The water goes nowhere. I am a fan of closing the Fair Street extension because enough people have slid down that hill in the winter because nobody solves in the city on the sidewalks. So I shut it down. I'm in favor of that. Thanks for your time.
Is there anyone here who signed up to speak online? Is there anyone present who signed up to speak online? Michael? Come on up then. Please state your name and
Yeah, Tony Marmo, and happy holidays. I don't think that's been mentioned yet. Say, I'm a property owner, 214 West Chestnut, yes. And a business owner in Kingston. So I speak tonight in support of the Fair Street Extension Road transfer to the developers of the Kingstonian. Multiple city committees and agencies have reviewed and approved this project all along the way with the knowledge that this road transfer had to occur as part of the project. The benefits of the Kingstonian have also been discussed and debated ad nauseum for the last 2 to 5 years, big a number. Those benefits are as important today as they were at the beginning, if not more so. I could be wrong, but the purpose of tonight's public comment opportunity is to address the transfer of Fair Street Extension Road, not the redesign of the Kingstonian, not whether or not it should happen. The road is the point of these public comments. So I urge the Common Council to vote positively on this transfer, because not to do that at this point would be an insult to the previous reviews and process.
They're working on it. I just got a text and they're waiting for the system to reconnect.
Elisa, with the state of emergency, do you expect them to go back to full Zoom at some point?
I really don't know. That would be up to them to vote on that and make that decision.
It seems easier.
Just so you know, Rennie did contact me and they're not continuing. They're trying to reconnect to the server.
Yeah, sorry for the wait. Name, record, name, address.
And thank you for letting me speak tonight. My name is Jeffrey Ring. I live in Skytop Development in Kingston. I've been here nearly 30 years, and I'm for this project. I call this project corrupt and absurd. Project is being developed by some of the best families in Kingston. I personally use the Fair Street extension a lot, and I will miss it when it's gone from this project.
My name is Bill Clonin.
Sorry, Bill, just wait a second. I just want to remind everybody that we're going to leave the public hearing open until 5 o'clock Monday, December 6th. So if you didn't get a chance to speak or you get other ideas, feel free to send written comment to Alyssa Tenty. You can drop something off in the box that's outside the front door here or the side door. You can email Alyssa Tenty at emtinti@kingston-ny.gov. You can also find her address and contact information on the city's website. Sorry, Bill.
Thank you. My name is Bill Clonin. I venture to say I'm probably one of the oldest people here. I've been a resident of Kingston for over 70 years. We'll leave it at that. I know there have been a lot of things said about the Herzog and Jordan families. I can tell you that personally, I lived next door to 5 generations, starting with Matthew Herzog years ago. I remember that street very well. I don't think people realize that in the past, the Montgomery Ward store was there, and that was not a road that ever went through. It was just a hill that went down to a parking lot at the back of Montgomery Ward's, the back of Herzog's. When they developed the plaza, and before the development of Swing Drive got to be so popular, the only access was through the route that you came in through Frog Alley. It worked very well, and population was much greater back then than it is now. There's a very good article in the New York Times today concerning Kingston, New York, about the up-and-coming development in the city of Kingston and how wonderful it is to live here. And I think that this development
that they can see from the building the Watson Bailey School when an elder member of the Herzog family was president, and there was a grand jury investigation about it. And then you want to remember later how they tried to sell you a swamp to build a high school out off of Albany Avenue. The numbers don't work on this thing. The whole thing is a scam, it's fraud, and I had a lot more to say, but I'm not going to waste my time with 3 minutes here because I don't think it's going to really make a difference to that. But this is a disgrace. A building that's going to cost $58 million is going to be assessed at $19 million. That's a 16% reduction to begin with, and then you're going to give up another $26 million in my tax money. I'm not getting any dividends from it, and I think it's a disgrace. Thank you.
Yes, one up.
Hi, thank you for having this. I only live. My name is Emilia, and you need my last name?
That's fine.
And I live in Saugerties, but I come here all the time because it's like, it's how it is here. So here's my thought about getting rid of public goods and paying taxes, like giving away our taxes so that we can build private goods. It's really not a good idea, and we all use this stuff. And I've been, in and out. My friends are right around here, all over Kingston. And there's also a lot of people who are unhoused. So is this going to help everybody who's unhoused? And is it going to be helpful to the environment? Like, really helpful? Because if it's not, it could be harmful. So just to think about that, we're building stuff, we're taking away public goods in favor of private goods. We could take that tax and instead of developing stuff that rich people can come here, that's nice, but that doesn't trickle down to us. I live in Saugerties, we have hits and we have, built big stuff, and it goes to the people who come. Then the only jobs we have are basically service industry. It's not really helping us. Tides are gonna rise. It's happening, floods happen, as weather changes. Open spaces that are absorbent could be helpful. Big buildings, not so much. Just a thought, and what our neighbor here, Michael, I forgot his last name, but he said it really well. It's really true. We do spend time there. People do actually, enjoy what we have. So, maybe we could find a way to make it better for the people who actually aren't rich who live here. And I do like the idea of union jobs, but maybe we could use that, building more ecological, everything that we have already, making it retrofitted to be better. And
30 seconds.
yeah, just, could use more housing for actually not affordable in quotations, but actually affordable or free vouchers. We're losing a lot of the halfway places already. So just a thought. Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
So my name is Robert Hanson Stir. I own the building at 334 Wall Street. So I'm directly across from this site. So I think I have 30 years experience of what's going on across the street, Fair Street, and so forth. First thing, we're in a parking situation because previous mayor and common council left the parking garage unattended and didn't fix it through years of no maintenance. So then the parking garage ceiling cracked and they had to take it down. Now we have a situation where you have a park across the way, which looks fairly good, but really is a place for people to reside, are off their beds, yelling at cars, doing crazy things like that at night, sleeping all night, and so forth. There is no police uptown watching through that situation. Nobody walks through a car, maybe goes through, or, situations like that. Now, as far as Fair Street is concerned, the hill is used a lot. I mean, it's true that it hasn't been cleared in a lot of snowstorms or anything like that, but the hill is used. So it's really my opinion that yes, you should allow that whole project to take over there because the city is not able to maintain it. Right now, if you look, there's a jungle growing out there. So when you have the last jungle growing there, what did you do? You got the convicts in to clean it up. And did they do a real job? Were they really involved and cared about it? No. So you have the guys in the orange suits that cut down the sumac. Look at it now. It's like a jungle. So my opinion is, let somebody take care of it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else who is present wishing to speak? Is there anyone who is present here physically who wants to speak? If not, then Alyssa, are there folks online who want to speak?
Yes. Let's see. Edward Hill.
Yeah, I believe he was here. So he may not be online there either.
Okay, Jeffrey Ring. Jeffrey Ring. How about Rick McColgan?
Hi, I'm here, Lisa. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Rick.
Good. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. I have lived in this area most of my life, the Kingston area. I'm a homeowner, I'm a taxpayer, and a very strong supporter of the Kingstonian. Just wanted to touch base on a couple things regarding the Kingstonian. And I've been in a couple of these forums before, and I've stated, you know, the project will obviously provide dollars for businesses and tax benefits. But, you know, one thing that the communities really need to realize, all kinds of investment need to be sustainable. You can't build our economy just on affordable housing projects, and they are the most important, but all private investments are important too. You know, so when you're thinking about the Kingstonian, and I'm sorry, Rose, that you're chuckling at this, but it's a very realistic opportunity. When you look at a lot of the even government investments that are being made, there's a reason behind it, to build investment in our communities. There's enormous benefits in return for the road abandonment. Think about it: public parking, housing, public gathering space, jobs, sales tax, all the other stuff that goes with it. And if you think about uptown, I've lived here almost my entire life. And if you think about the business and the taxes that will be generated in the uptown area, and sorry, Scott, if shaking your head, sorry if you don't agree with this, but that's the truth. There's so many enormous benefits that will happen in Kingston with this project, with business, with hiring people, which is so needed right now. Obviously, everybody knows that. And with the taxes generated. And even when you think about things like people, like I know it came up a couple times with the abatement of the street. Have you guys actually driven through uptown Kingston on North Front Street with people just randomly walking by, walking through, and on the extension to Fair Street? I mean, it's crazy. This is going to be the best thing for Kingston that has ever happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Victoria Polidoro.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Victoria Polidoro, partner at Rodenhouse and Shaw Polidoro, here on behalf of William Gottlieb Real Estate. We've raised several procedural issues with the discontinuance of the road, which we continue to assert. But tonight, I want to appeal to your common sense. I've reviewed the resolution that's been posted on the city's website, and it proposes an immediate discontinuance of the Fair Street extension. We are struggling to understand why the city is rushing to discontinue a widely used road right now for a project that does not even have and may never get final approval. Tonight, at the same time as this hearing, and hopefully with fewer technical issues, the Landmarks Commission is reviewing a notice of preservation for the Kingstonian project. Their jurisdiction includes the portion of the project that is within the Fair Street extension. If the commission exercises its independent judgment and determines, as the state and other qualified historians have, that the Fair Street extension is historically significant, it could require project changes to eliminate or minimize all the changes to the Fair Street extension. It's within their authority to do so. Likewise, the planning board can still request modifications to this project as it has not received site plan approval. Unless there's some kind of handshake agreement between the mayor, the developer, and all the boards to approve this project, there is absolutely no reason why it is in the public interest to discontinue a public road right now, months and possibly years before any construction begins. By discontinuing the road, you will be increasing traffic on Clinton Avenue. In 2011, the city of Kingston supported a plan which identified the Fair Street extension as an important roadway connection to Uptown Kingston and a potential catalyst for smart redevelopment along Schwenk Drive. You are now foreclosing these future smart growth opportunities at the same time that you're doing a zoning revision by discontinuing the connection between the stockade area and the area immediately outside of it. I'm also appalled by the lack of information available for public review on this project. There was no presentation on the proposal tonight, and the map that was recently posted on the city website does not identify the area of Fair Street extension to be discontinued. It doesn't even label the street. I cannot tell by looking at the map whether you are removing access from the municipal parking lot. I asked the members of the Common Council, do you know if you're discontinuing the portion of the street that leads to the parking lot? There are also no plans for what happens once part of the road is discontinued. Do you have signage directing traffic? I have 30 seconds, right? Will cars turn onto the remaining portion of the road and have to turn around? Are you just going to put a sawhorse up for the next 3 years? I watched the Finance and Audit Committee in October when this was presented, and not one member asked any questions of the mayor. How can you, as members of the Common Council, sworn to act in the public interest, approve of this without knowing exactly what will be discontinued? And without a plan for what happens between now and potential construction years in the future?
Ms. Polidori, that's 15 minutes. You've spoken longer than anyone else tonight. Thank
you for your consideration. We've also sat here, thank you.
Robert Gaston. Robert Gaston. Okay, I'll move on. Brian Weinberg.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Weinberg.
Hi. I am Brian Weinberg, and I live in Westchester County. I was involved with preparing a peer review study of the traffic impact study that was prepared for the Kingstonian development, which of course included a study of the closure of the Fair Street extension. The following are some of my findings from my peer review study. First, The traffic impact study or TIS only looked at one peak hour, while you would typically study the 2 peak hours per standard sources, such as the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the handbooks. And it would typically include both the morning and evening or AM and PM peak hours, but the study only looked at the PM peak hour. Second, considering the study area that was chosen for this TIS, with the Fair Street extension closed, the TIS diverted traffic to other corridors of other streets, but these corridors hosting potentially significant amounts of diverted traffic, key intersections were left out of the study area, and thus intersection capacity analysis was not completed along these corridors. These include certain intersections along Green Street, John Street, and Clinton Street that would see between approximately 35 and 100 additional vehicle trips per hour. The TIS also left out assessments of critical links, such as Frog Alley and North Front Street. There would be a substantial number of diverted vehicles that would turn left from Schwenk Drive onto Frog Alley, but the TIS did not look at the very short left turn lane from westbound Schwenk, which has the potential to affect the level of service for traffic on Schwenk Drive if that left turn lane would get backed up. The TIS also did not assess the effect of potentially higher traffic volumes being diverted to North Front Street, which is a high pedestrian zone with the potential for increased pedestrian conflicts, as the TIS assumed that no outbound trips would divert onto North Front Street to head back to Fair Street, that the portion that would remain open. Additionally, there along Frog Alley, there's a fire station. The high volume of additional diverted traffic that would be sent onto Frog Alley could potentially affect the fire station operations. Finally, during construction of the project, while Fair Street is closed and before any other pedestrian accommodations are built, pedestrians would have to travel a longer way to get between Schwenk Drive and North Front Street, which could be difficult, especially for pedestrians with disabilities, due to poor sidewalk conditions and blockages along the other routes. Thank you.
Patrick Logan.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Logan. I'm an attorney with Rodenhausen, Shaw, and Polidoro here on behalf of William Gottlieb Real Estate. I'd like to discuss the impacts that the closing of Fair Street Extension would have on historic resources in Kingston. As you are aware, this area of the city is part of the Kingston Stockade Historic District, which has been deemed a significant historical, architectural, and archaeological area. While the archaeology and architecture of the district are, of course, invaluable, one aspect of the district that has been overlooked by many is its topography and the layout of its streets. The stockade was built by Dutch settlers in the 17th century due to its strategic location on a bluff above the Esopus Creek. The National Register listing and the New York State Historic Preservation Office have both noted the significance of this topography as well as the importance of the historic system of streets that have formed the stockade's border and provided a means of access to and from the area. In fact, Kingston's very first historic district was actually the Clinton Avenue National Register Historic District, which is located along the stockade's eastern border. The loss of Fair Street Extension in order to make way for a massive new development will permanently alter these historic features that are vital in contributing to the sense of place that is felt in the Stockade District. For one, by building over the entire hill below Front Street Extension, the Kingstonian would obliterate the natural contour that marks the northern boundary line of the 1658 stockade, thereby erasing any indication of the former bluff that formed the very basis for the site's settlement. Second, the abandonment of Fair Street Extension alters Kingston's historic street pattern by quite literally removing a 19th century street from the map. Third, the traffic that currently uses Fair Street Extension will necessarily be routed elsewhere. The associated traffic impacts will be felt throughout the stockade and cause congestion that will diminish the historic ambiance of the neighborhood. In particular, traffic along Clinton Avenue, which I've mentioned is the quaint street that served as the city's very first historic district, will be increased fourfold. In all, the abandonment of the street to make way for the Kingstonian will have far more than basic traffic impacts. It will permanently damage the historic character that makes the Stockade District unique. And in addition, I would like to mention that this is a public hearing, not a public comment period. Those attending a hearing do not make their comments in a vacuum. They need to be able to hear what others are saying and respond. We have not been able to do that this evening, and any failure to adjourn this hearing to another date denies the public the right to meaningfully participate in this process. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Dean Tamburi.
He spoke already. He was here in person.
Okay, Jennifer Armstrong.
Hi, Jennifer Armstrong. I live on New Street here in Kingston. Before I begin, I want to disclose that I'm an employee of Langen Engineering, a consulting firm that provides services for several properties associated with William Gottlieb Real Estate, and also prepared the traffic peer review memo for their counsel in relation to the closure of Fair Street Extension. I'm not speaking tonight as an employee of Langen or to restate the contents of the traffic peer review memo. I'm here tonight as a resident and taxpayer within the city of Kingston. It is not an appropriate time to close a publicly owned and actively used street in order to advance a proposed development that is much larger in scale than other area properties within a historic district. Right now, $500,000 of taxpayer money is being spent on the very worthwhile process of comprehensive code-based zoning for the whole city. During the November 11th progress presentation, Dover Cole and Partners discussed several big ideas to inform the new zoning code after collaboration with city residents in a series of community engagement events. Included in these core concepts were small-scale, as-of-right developments, relationships of buildings to streets and surrounding buildings, reevaluating how much parking we really need, and improved public transport, walkability, and more complete streets. The progress presentation also highlighted the importance of maintaining small block size and avoiding street closures. Closing Fair Street at this time would be a disservice to the taxpayers' investment in rezoning. The closure is an incremental step of a much larger development program, and both the street closure and the project it would support appear contrary to several main goals of the pending rezoning. Premature approval of street closure could be a missed opportunity to use Fair Street Extension in more productive ways that could service and connect the community. I'm grateful for the opportunities to date to participate in the rezoning process via the community outreach channels, and thank the council for moving forward with such an important investment. We as residents are entitled to have a say in how our community grows, and this process should be allowed to play out. I implore the council to delay consideration of this street closure until after the code-based zoning is complete. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony Marmo.
There's also.
You say Marmo?
Yes. I see his name.
He spoke.
Okay, all right.
Okay. Todd Diorio.
He spoke also.
Frank Campagna. Frank Campagna. Okay, I'll move on. Michael Tierney.
Michael Tierney spoke.
Okay. Paul Gallo. Paul Gallo, okay, Charlotte Adamas, Charlotte Adamas,
Charlotte left because the meeting ran long.
okay, Ryan Bradley, Ryan Bradley, I see his name.
Hi, my name's Ryan Bradley, lifelong resident of Kingston and business owner for the last 20 years. I am a supporter of the Kingstonian and a supporter of closing the Fair Street extension. It is utilized. It's not utilized at all right now as a street, and it's used by the warehouse and the old diner, which are all going to be part of the project. So I don't really see it benefiting anything other than the project. And I'm in support of this project and closing of Fair Street extension. Thank you.
Next.
Cheryl Schneider, Cheryl, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Schneider. I live at 1119 Creek Locks Road in Bloomington. But for years I had an office at 721 Broadway in Kingston. I also live bunches of my life in many different facets in Kingston. I am completely against the giving of public resources over to private developers. 5 years ago, maybe we were begging for people to come and develop in this area, but right now, if I believe it, and I'm a novice in this, we have cash over asking price sales transactions going on. So if the folks in the Kingstonian can't make a buck doing it the legit way without us giving away our streets and our schools and our tax money to them, then maybe they have a sucky business plan and they need to reconsider and move out of the way and make room for somebody who can do something worthy and deserving of us. And I just want to speak to one of the previous speakers' clouded racist comments of calling a park that is not well maintained by the city and not maintained by the city because maybe they don't want to maintain it because maybe they want it to look, but by calling an overgrown park a jungle and then saying that homeless people are junkies is just despicable. I'm calling you out. I also want to say that all the people who spoke in favor of this were white men who were all business owners and, you know, most of them golf with Jordans and friends. So it's like, let's give this to our buddies because we're all trying to.
She needs to be cut off.
Sorry.
Cut off for saying what? For saying the truth?
Lisa, can you mute Mr. Colgan? Sorry, go ahead. I'll give you extra time.
Hello, I am a business owner. I know who I'm talking about. It's a bunch of white men who golf together. That is not our community. We have homeless people. This is not affordable. These are not affordable things. I could not afford one of those affordable units. I don't know who the people are who come into the city who they want to make a buck off of, but this is not about the people of Kingston. It's about profit for a handful of people who happen to be real cozy with a lot of electeds. We can't give away our streets. We can't give away our schools. We can't give away tax money. Stop this. Stop this, because most of us can't afford to live here. We can't afford to eat here. Are you telling me that the women who are going to work in the hotel and in those restaurants are going to get a living wage? Are they all going to get a minimum $20 an hour? Because I hear that all the construction dudes are going to get their fair share. Come on, people. I'm calling BS on all of this. Y'all have a nice night. Thank you very much.
Next.
Tom Polk.
Howdy. My name is Tom Polk. I live at 104 Arnold Drive in Kingston. While my address is in the town of Ulster, I commute daily to the city of Kingston for work, most often by bicycle. I support the partial abandonment of Fair Street Extension. Many speakers have come before me, so I'll be brief. I have 4 points to make. First, the Kingstonian project responded to a city RFP and provides substantial benefits. Is poised to bring back public parking to Uptown, lacking since the demise of the old parking garage. Will provide housing and economic development opportunities for the city. Second, replacing the road with a pedestrian open space and ADA compliant features will be safer and more accessible to all walkers. Improving the walkability of Kingston is another significant benefit. Third, I was a member of the advisory committee for the DRI Uptown Transportation Improvement Project. This project uses services of HVA engineers who found limited impact of the proposed closure of Fair Street. And on a personal level, as a cyclist and a motorist, I prefer going on Clinton Avenue and rarely use Fair Street Extension. Finally, I would contrast the developers of the Kingstonian with the property owner who's been filing court cases and supporting full-page advertising in the Daily Freeman. The ads falsely claim that the developers are receiving, quote, illegal public land and rights, unquote. The Kingstonian and repurposing of Fair Street have been extensively documented, examined, reviewed, debated, and approved by many bodies. The property owner, on the other hand, has done nothing to develop or populate his numerous holdings. I would ask you to consider what the city's alternatives might be. Relying on a landlord with no evidence of providing benefits in the Kingstonian. Thank you for your consideration.
Next, please.
Scott Denny.
Yes, we can hear you, Scott.
Some of you know, I think most of you know, I ran as a write-in candidate for Alderman of Ward 9. I was fairly successful with about 23% of the vote. I still do maintain my robocall list, and I can tell you, Mr. Dan Ahaus earlier made a remark that there's huge public support for this. I can also tell you that through my robocalling, I can tell you that the residents of Ward 9 as a whole do not support this. This project in no way, we need to be clear, this project in no way is going to ever benefit the true residents of Kingston. This project is geared to entertain and cater to the folks that have been migrating here from the Brooklyn area, which is fine, welcome them. But this is still our community. We are the residents. This is where we live. We should focus more on affordable housing, not even so much low-income housing anymore. That's been covered. We need affordable housing. If you look at the project details, you go to the Kingstonian photos and so forth, this project is not for the people in this area. It is unaffordable. It says here there's going to be 129 market rate residential units. What is market rate? It's not market rate here. It's Brooklyn, Long Island, Manhattan market rate. That's what they're going to be. Look at the photographs. This is luxury at its highest. They're talking about putting in boutiques, boutique hotels. That's also going to threaten the current businesses that are up there, because what's going to happen is what's happened with the other thing, with the other places. The local taverns, the local bars, for lack of better words, and so forth, many of them have been abandoned because they're going to these much higher end places that have been put in that area along other areas. We need to focus on the people that live here and pay their taxes. Another point that I would like to make is that overall, somebody should take a look at the New York State General City Law, State Constitution, Chapter 355. This has the potential to open up a lawsuit to the city of Kingston. This should be put up for a public referendum. If Mr. A-House before said the support is overwhelming. That's what we've got. Fine. If you feel that, put it out to the public to vote. This should not be decided by the City of Kingston's Common Council, nor the mayor. The pet projects aren't working. The pet school lane is closed. It's supposed to be 12 feet wide. They're 7 feet 9. 3 that's tied to it. We need to, Elmendorf Street's been closed for years. We're not paving our streets, but we're worried about Mr. Jordan and his crew putting in this luxury hotel. I'm calling it a hotel. It's not right. Let's focus on the residents of Kingston and stop this nonsense. All we worry about now is the waterfront and the uptown business district, because those are the places where the people from the city migrate to. And we just dumped, I think we're dumping $20 million into the water.
Time is up.
On a grant that's ridiculous. We need to stop. And I would like to also say my opponent, that is current Councilwoman Michelle Hirsch. I'd like to commend her because at the last meeting, she actually voted no.
Danny, your
And I
time
hope
is
that she'll
up.
stay in the no course. And I urge every single one of you, the Common Council, to do it, residents of Kingston, and stop hating our city residents. They're guests here. Stop.
Your time is up, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I had stopped by.
Alana Ross.
Hi, just give me a second to, oh gosh, give me a, yeah, okay, hi. So I just want to establish that I don't have a problem with white guys unless they're grifters, dishonest, or they propose false dichotomies. And I've heard a lot of that earlier tonight. I feel compelled to debunk a few misconceptions. This project is not privately funded. It is publicly funded by a hard cash from New York State, a property tax break, and the Opportunity Zone boondoggle. The developer's own application puts their investment at around $6 million, and the tens, if not hundreds of millions that a few rich individuals will take home comes from the pockets of the people of Kingston, Ulster County, and New York State. And supporters have taken a vow of silence on the profit. I've noticed that no supporters tonight have spoken about the upwards of 100 million, if not $200 million that will flow to private investors from the rest of us. No supporters talk about it because they know it shocks the conscience. This welfare for millionaires is just another boondoggle. And as to the so-called benefits of such boondoggles, a lot of people have talked about the so-called benefits. They are illusory. And real economists have shown this time and time again in the scholarly literature. Anyone with accounting skills knows that the tax benefits will never make their way into public coffers. They are grossly overestimated. And the spillover job predictions will never materialize. This is history. This happens pretty much every time. Locally, anybody with grade school math skills can see that the so-called public parking benefit, it has zero benefit to pre-existing Kingston residents, and that the walkway will benefit Brad Jordan's shopkeepers and no one else. Politically, the process has been underhanded from the start. It reads like a crime mystery, a roadmap of premeditated conspiracy, and it has been pushed through by politicians who act more like accessories to a crime than elected representatives who speak on behalf of your constituents. Another canard bandied about is the supply side argument. But increasing high-end housing will not lower prices. Free market housing prices are affected by interest rates and quantitative easing, not by building the Kingstonian. That is a big, big canard that I keep hearing. And the vast majority of residents, and yes, it's true, the vast majority of residents do oppose this, and we've seen it every time there's been an election that's been a stand-in for the Kingstonian. The vast majority of residents oppose this project because we are not stupid and we recognize it as a theft of public funds. And we can see that the same few hundred people who support it are those who will benefit themselves because you're either investors or you're hoping to live there. And to give some of you the benefit of the doubt, you might be just misinformed. And we can see that you on the Common Council are either investors or hope to live there yourselves, or you work or once did work for Brad Jordan. Yes, there will be benefits to the investors, but there will be a substantial loss to the rest of Ulster County's 20-odd thousand residents. And that's why the majority of those remaining 20-odd thousand residents oppose the project, and no amount of public relations spin will suppress that truth. And that's why it's taken 5 years. And that's why we must call on all residents of Kingston and Ulster County and New York State to vigorously oppose such thefts from we the people. And if it takes another 5 years, it's worth it, or another 10, or another 15. I'm almost done, because this kind of fraudulent backroom giveaway to crony insiders needs to end, whether it's to car dealers who lie on their tax break application, corporations licking their chops about Tech City, or home.
Next speaker is Rose Quinn.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Rose Quinn. I live on 78 Down Street in Kingston. I've been an Ulster County resident for odd 22 years. I have worked and or lived in Kingston for about 10 years or so. First, before I go any further, I really just have to state that this meeting itself should have been adjourned. This has been a confusing, frustrating meeting for those of us who have been on the other side of this. And I do not understand why this meeting was not adjourned, but let me continue. The next point that I would like to address is I find it very odd that Brad Jordan and anyone at the plaza would be considered any kind of expert on pedestrian or bicycle safety or knowledge. I am the former president of Bike Friendly Kingston. I can tell you that the plaza is a dangerous place. It's a dangerous place to walk. It's a dangerous place to bike. The bike racks that were put in were not put in close to the supermarket nor the bus station. I have had to call the plaza several times because their own trucks have been sitting in the bus station by the supermarket, and because I have almost been struck by their trucks a few times walking through the back. I've been beeped at by their employees many times trying to get across the walkway because there is a trail that leads out right there, which also has never been addressed. There's no crossing sign even there coming down a hill. So there we have it. I don't understand why anyone is looking to Brad Jordan or anyone at the plaza for any expertise on pedestrian or bicycle safety. And for everyone's information, I use the Fair Street extension on my bicycle and walking all the time. And for people who are disabled, I do understand that that is a harsh hill for some people. Well, we could run shuttle buses right out of the ready-made parking that already exists in the plaza. And you could keep those buses going on a loop just like they do in New Paltz. And you would never have to have an expensive walkway, which eventually I'll be told I can't use at certain hours of the day. Now there's a public street. I can use it whenever I want. That's the benefit of a public street. So I'm going to continue from there. Thank you, Common Council members and Clerk Tinty, and to my community for allowing me to speak tonight. I speak to you directly and without restraint regarding a crime which is about to be committed in Kingston, a crime against the community members of Kingston. This theft refers to a property gifting of a property known as the Fair Street Extension. The Fair Street Extension is a public street. It is a commons. Taxpayers pay for it. It is their property.
3 minutes. Your 3 minutes done, Rose.
Okay, well, you know, I had a lot more to say, and I'm just gonna end it here and say this. The fact that it seems as though the people who are in opposition are the ones who had to wait, and the people who actually had, you know, things prepared to say and are now being told they can't speak and had to sit here in frustration while you guys did not postpone this meeting is a travesty and something we have to look into. I am against this for all of the reasons I stated, and I just can't believe that this is even going forward. So have a good night, everyone. I don't know why I bothered.
Please.
Justin Hoekstra.
Hi, I'm Justin Hoekstra. I live at 289 Washington Avenue in Kingston. I live here with my partner, who's been in the area for 20 years, and our middle schooler. Giving away the Fair Street extension so that the Kingstonian project can move forward is ludicrous, and just totally unacceptable. The project itself is a terrible fit for the community. The benefits that it claims it will provide are, as has been pointed out before, an illusion. There's a lot of good development spots where you can build a bunch of luxury housing. Having to tear down the old Herzog's warehouse and having to shut down, give away a street in order to build this luxury high rise in Uptown is nuts. Like I moved down here at the beginning of the pandemic to be with my partner from Burlington, Vermont. Now they've got a similar boondoggle up there where they had this great plan to build this high rise that was going to provide the same sort of stuff that the Kingstonian wants to provide. You know, mixed use housing, more parking. And now the project is stalled out. They got a big hole in the ground in the middle of town. And the developers have left the city in the lurch. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but it certainly could. And these particular developers are stealing from the tax base. They're stealing out of the pockets of public education in order to make massive profits. The pilot doesn't make any sense. And giving away a street doesn't make any sense. The justifications that have been trotted out, you know, the street is in disrepair, it doesn't get used. I mean, the city can benignly neglect a street to such a degree where it's like, oh, it's an eyesore. We ought to just give it away. And perhaps that's the case. Maybe they did that. I don't know. I don't work inside the machine. But I do know from my life experience that projects like this that dedicate, you know, a small percentage. Okay, I've been on for the same amount of time as everybody else. It's like 3 hours for 2 minutes, but I appreciate it. Much love to the Common Council. Do the right thing.
Next speaker is Jean Jacobs. Jean Jacobs.
Hello?
Hi, Jean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I've just become a little bewildered with all of the time we've had to wait here tonight. And I am, with all due respect, I would just like to confirm that I would have definitely called the meeting. That's my personal opinion. I've served in positions, so therefore I'm going to speak tonight in regards to the Fair Street extension as well as the Kingstonian as a whole. This has been occurring in our community since 2017, and we are now in 2021. The impact has affected us all gravely, not only to the taxpayer, but to education, the impact on our students. We've all listened to that as well. I'm all about moving forward with positive prosperity. I'm an uptown girl since 1951, born and raised here, and raised all my children in uptown Kingston. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the Kirkland. That was to be the gateway to economic development. Hello. Let us look at Woolworths and Mr. Bender and all of the people that have come forward in business deals there. Woolworths has been sitting there for years. My 4 college educated students have been in this community and graduated here, yes. But what jobs are here for our youth to bring them back here in substantial jobs? I look at the whole picture. I love my uptown. I truly do. I currently live on Wall Street, designated in 2013 as one of the top historic streets in the United States of America. Bravo. Let's clap to that. That's marvelous. But what are we trying to accomplish here concerns me considerably. And I'll leave on this note. I'm known in the community for safety first. I've run for many positions, but if you do not have a safe city, you do not have a city whatsoever. My question to the developers and all involved, has there been a safety plan, a steering committee all this time? And that's my major concern, because I don't think we have looked at all of the safety that is in conjunction with this Kingstonian. Thank you for your time. I have a good evening.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Next speaker is Judith Bogus.
I'm unmuting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, start the video. Okay. You won't start, Drew. Okay. Okay, I can't get my picture up. So anyway, oh, there I am. Okay. Yes, I'm Judith Bogus, and I'm a 78-year resident of this area. I was born on the Strand in Kingston, and I have seen how Kingston has developed over these years. Presently, I live in Shokan, where it was rural. You're lucky if you saw one car going down 28 towards Kingston, and now you think you're on the thruway because of all the influx of people. And what the people like myself and these influx of new residents who travel east on Route 28 into Kingston have learned to use Plaza Road and Fair Street Extension to avoid North Front Street. North Front Street is especially in the mornings congested with delivery trucks taking traffic down to a one-lane road on both sides of the road. Plus, the on-road dining now isn't helping. Trucks can't pull over because of those strategically placed planters, inadequate snow removal, and the on-the-road dining areas preventing them from doing so. The Fair Street Extension closure will cause traffic by trailways, bus terminal, Dietz Stadium, and Washington Avenue traffic light, and possibly backup traffic all the way to Washington and Hurley Avenue traffic light. Because of this excess traffic. It's just going to be a boondoggle there. And the buses coming and leaving from trailways isn't going to help. Drivers and pedestrians use Plaza Road and Fair Street Extension to bypass all this congestion on North Front Street. And they take Fair Street Extension to go to the Ulster County office building, to doctor's office, many restaurants, the old Dutch and Catholic church. I think the post office is still there. And it's a way we can get to Wall Street because we have to go all the way around because of the one way. And it's also a quick way to Clinton Avenue into Albany Avenue and Broadway if you know where you're going. Closing the Fair Street Extension for the proposed parking garage will do nothing for locals living and working here. Kingstonian fair market rentals will be out of reach for the average wage earner. And I'd like to know, will non-union workers be employed on this project? I doubt it. You're getting a parking garage that will require parking permits for minimum wage workers. You will have a parking lot that seniors and those with disabilities won't use. You'll have a pedestrian walkway for the Kingstonians elite who won't shop in the plaza because they'll feel like they're slumming because they have boutique shops and restaurants to choose from without leaving their hotel. Please don't let these dollar signs blind you into ignoring the worker bees that makes Kingston hum. Ignoring seniors with disposable income, ignoring persons with disabilities and women in general. And why do I say this? Here's an exciting FYI for you. Did you know that the Liability Consultants Inc. said out of 1,000 reviewed premise lawsuits, 1/3 were for murder, rape, robbery, or assault that occurred in a parking lot or garage? With the number of shootings and murders and assaults and robberies, muggings, and other crimes happening in Midtown Kingston, I foresee trouble coming around the corner for the Kingstonian.
Time is up.
Oh, wow. After sitting here for 3 hours, thank you very much. Have a good day. Oh, good night. Thank you.
Next speaker is Rebecca Royer.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Rebecca Roger. I live at 121 Linderman Ave. As a Kingston resident and homeowner, and as someone who works uptown and commutes by bicycle, I want to express my vehement opposition to the abandonment of Fair Street Extension. Fair Street Extension continues to be the safest and most direct bicycle route to the plaza, allowing cyclists to access groceries, UCAT, and the Midtown Linear Trail. I personally ride this route for all 3 activities, including when I would ride my bike to UCAT to take a class at Ulster Community College. I still have yet to see the city or developers put forward a plan for how cyclists are to safely reach these critical features of our city once Fair Street Extension is closed to through traffic. So if you're in Uptown Kingston, in the Stockade, starting from the plaza, the other ways to the plaza are Frog Alley to Schwenk, or John Street to Clinton, and then that like immediate left-hand turn, which is always backed up with traffic. They're both really quite iffy on a bike. And when we get the increased car traffic from the Kingstonian residents and the absence of Fair Street Extension, I anticipate it will be all the more dangerous for cyclists. So basically by closing Fair Street Extension to through traffic, we will irrevocably hamper our city's ability to make our city bike friendly. We lose the ability to safely and efficiently connect the Stockade District with the Midtown Rail Trail, which in turn provides a much safer route to the new bike lanes on Broadway, which I believe the city spent like millions of dollars on. So without this connection, cyclists must brave either like the terrifying new roundabout, which is great for cars, but pretty crappy for bikes, or else take surface streets. So you take Fair to St. James, and then you have to cross Broadway at a pretty like unsafe and confusing intersection where the traffic circle just ended to get onto the bike lanes. When we have a rail trail that would connect uptown to these expensive new bike paths that were just put in. So we basically have all this like disjointed, fractured bike infrastructure that terminates in confusing and unsafe traffic patterns. And abandoning this street, taking away the through traffic will make it really difficult for our city to like put these pieces together and make this a safe, bike friendly, like truly desirable and pleasant, thriving urban experience. So I fear our leaders are making a terrible mistake handing this public asset to private developers, and for free, no less, before addressing this issue. Thank you for listening.
Next, please.
Gina Tyler.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say that I agree with several other callers that tonight's meeting should have been postponed. There was a lot of technical difficulties, and a lot of people who had statements to say were unfortunately unable to stay through the meeting. So with that, I just wanted to also go back to a comment I heard one of the earlier speakers say about the developers not being from Timbuktu. Well, Timbuktu is actually one of the most advanced societies at the time and still has architecture and buildings that are around today. So if you're saying to really not like them, that's not really speaking well of the developers. So with that, I'd like to say that this started all because the city wanted a simple parking garage. And I feel like we, the people, have been sold, upsold a bill of goods that nobody living here who has actually lived here wants or needs, besides a few of the business owners in Uptown Kingston and their compatriots. We need a city that has streets that are pedestrian friendly and safe. And as someone said earlier, that Fair Street extension is not important. Well, it's clear they've never walked as their main mode of transportation. They've never had to run down to the plaza on their half an hour break to grab a sandwich or grab an item and then come back in time. That particular street actually helps people who do walk, and it cuts off major time, particularly for the elderly people who are living up the street, from in the Rupco apartments there. And so it's important for us to remember that the perspective of this project has never been centered in the community, and it doesn't meet our needs. It's not for us. The real residents of Kingston, the real Kingstonians, are being asked to bankroll this project, provide the land and access to streets, and to benefit a private developer that is unwilling to listen to the public. That's not a public-private partnership. That's not a P3. That's a taking. How much is the public expected to keep giving these developers, so-called private developers, who are only utilizing public land, public tax dollars, taking from public schools, when the public has already spoken and said, we don't want this. We said it in 2019 through loudspeakers in the chamber. We said it through elections. We said it time and time again. We said it through our school board. You're not listening. We do not want this development. We do not want to give up Fair Street Extension. It's part of Kingston. It's older. When people talk about being here 5 or 6 generations, it's older than you. It has been here longer than everybody here. It is part of the historic district. It's part of the culture. It is part of the character of the city. And we do not want to give it up for developers that are not even sustaining themselves, but relying on the public to do that. This is not for us. It never has been. And with that, I'm also going to focus on the jobs. As everyone has said, it's illusory. Those jobs are temporary. After the buildings are constructed, those jobs will disappear. How long will they be around? A year, 2 years? Maybe not even that long.
Your time is up.
Well, okay. Well, we've given them $3.8 million, $25 million in pilots, and now we're going to give them a street. It's not fair and it's not right. I object, and I do not support this.
Next, please.
John Grossbowen. John. We can move on to Jennifer O'Donnell.
Hello. I am Jennifer O'Donnell. I live in Kingston, New York. How many of you saw the film Lost Rondout made by our friends and neighbors? It was a beautiful and sad story about our community being torn apart by big interests bigger than ourselves. Spaces that we all shared and paid for through work, through taxes, through our small family businesses, and by the promises of economic development were destroyed by some very powerful government actors. Many decide here without seeing the bigger picture. Many, as you have seen in the Lost Rondout, many of the deciders regretted those decisions. Following those fateful choices that were made many years ago and many years of displacement, a social crime that was complicated by racism and a lack of development in the Rondout, we have never recovered in this neighborhood. No one who lives down this hill can walk anywhere to buy healthy food or, God forbid, cross an economically segregated highway and government complex to participate in the entertainment economy left on the other side. One that has only grown up despite years of economic drought from very poor planning. I am an urban planner. All you need to do is visit any other great city, large or small, to see that good design is a matter of choices that do not privilege the automobile or the wealthy. Good design privileges connections among people and places. When I worked for Ulster County government as the Deputy Director of Planning, a job I loved, I helped many communities make good decisions. Phoenicia, Marlborough, Milton, Port Ewan, Woodstock, Saugerties, Ellenville, New Paltz, Highland, plus rail trails, farms, water resources, historic sites, cultural programs. It was a dream come true for a planner like me. Think globally and act locally. Until the county charter ushered in a new era of executive power, and people who spoke truth to power were no longer allowed. The I-587 roundabout, which was built recently, was an opportunity to remake Uptown and a network of connected streets, including the Fair Street extension, a key connecting feature. The Ulster County Transportation Council approved it, and Kingston was a voting member of that council. It voted to fund, I'm sorry, I'm going to just take another minute. It voted to fund the plan with a 10% match of dollars. How many of you have seen that resolution? Better yet, how many of you have seen that plan? It was a very good concept, and it seeks to improve the scale, connectivity, and development opportunities of all of Uptown. It would open up more development. It would open up more opportunities for economic development for all of Uptown. I ask you to consider that we do not lose this opportunity as we lost the Rondout. Thank you.
Bill Erner.
It appears that Jean, your mic seems to be open, or can you mute yourself?
Hello,
Jean?
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, good evening, Council. This is Phil Erner at 109 Washington Avenue, City, Kingston. In honor of Hanukkah, I have the following tune. Apologies to Hanukkah on Parade. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked plan, Kingstonian was its name. Oh, to house the wealthy and the few, while poor folks could not stand. Oh, vote today to keep our fair street. Vote today to keep our fair street. Vote today to keep our fair street and keep our commons public. In New York State, there is a law called Pilot, awful funny. It starts enriching but a few with workers' hard-earned money. Vote today to keep our fair street. Vote today to keep our fair street. Vote today, or when you do take a vote, to keep our fair street and keep our commons public. Thank you. I will yield the rest of my time.
Great, Bill. Next, please.
That is the end of my list.
All right, is there anyone who hasn't spoken who would like to speak? Either online or here present?
Yes, I'll speak.
Who is this, please?
This is Frank Campagna.
Frank Campagna? Yes, sir. 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'll be shorter than that. Respect for everybody's time. Yeah, Frank Campagna. I'm a Midtown property owner, 8310 Brook Avenue. Business owner, small family business owner since 1976 in Midtown Kingston. And I just want to say that I am 100% in support of the Kingstonian development and the partial street closure because of all the benefits, the multitude of benefits that have been mentioned tonight. And I just want to say thank you to the council.
Yeah, All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Either online or in person? Is there anyone else who would like to speak, either online or here in person?
There are people that we have been mentioning that have spoken. Well, we were not able to hear them, that would like to make their statements heard and put on the record.
If someone spoke and they were in chambers and we didn't hear it on our end, the recording is still available and you can watch that on YouTube.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak who did not get to speak either online or here in person? All right, I'll remind everyone then that we're leaving the hearing open until 5 o'clock on Monday, December 6th. If anybody already spoke tonight, you of course have the right to submit further comments, either through the box that's outside the side door here at City Hall, hand deliver a letter. You can also email your comments to Elissa Tinty, the city clerk. She is at emtinti@kingston-ny.gov. We're happy to hear from any of you, all of you. And I see a question, when will we vote on this? The vote is coming up at the next common council meeting, which is Tuesday, December 7th. It is now 9:45, and I will call this meeting to a close. Thank you all for coming and participating. We appreciate it. Thank you, Elissa.